the show engineered to give you the ultimate shortcut to being well-informed. We skip the noise, we cut straight to the insight, and we deliver the foundational knowledge you need, fast and thorough.
Today, we are undertaking a really fascinating mission. We're diving into a topic that, let's be honest, everyone obsesses over wealth.
Right.
But we're focusing exclusively on the part that rarely makes the headlines. So we're talking about the quiet, the non-financial foundation that dictates whether success is even possible in the first place.
Exactly. Our mission today is to take a deep dive into the internal precursors of wealth. So forget the stock market for a minute and just set aside the traditional balance sheet analysis. We're looking at specific habits, deep decisions, and these crucial shifts in thinking that indicate wealth is already underway, long before your bank account reflects it. We're analyzing the mechanics of becoming rich, not the results themselves.
And the material we're drawing from is this great structural analysis. It outlines 10 definitive signs that you are realistically on the path to becoming affluent.
And it's framed for the near future, right?
Exactly. Specifically framed for the near future, giving you a sort of target time frame to assess your own growth. This isn't, abstract philosophy. It's a deep diagnostic look at your internal operating system.
I love how the analysis frames this for you, the listener. It calls it a mirror. This isn't about looking back at who you were yesterday, and it's not about projecting some fantasy of who you might be tomorrow.
Oh.
It's about seeing who you are actively becoming today. And if you recognize these signs, you're not just hoping for wealth, you are building the core infrastructure for it.
Our goal is to unpack these 10 quiet, deep signs with a lot of detail. We want you to understand that inner foundation that's being built right now and to recognize that your financial trajectory, it's set by sustained, intentional decisions, not sudden strokes of luck.
Let's make the invisible visible.
I like that.
Okay, let's unpack this. We should start where all change really begins, right? With the foundational mindset shifts, the internal drivers of, fundamental change. So we'll begin with what is maybe the most crucial internal tension. Sign number 1, which the analysis identifies as restlessness as the first spark of reinvention.
This is such a critical starting point. I'm glad they put it first because it completely redefines what we think of as dissatisfaction.
How so?
Well, most people assume that wealth builders, they start from this place of chronic misery or some intense external pressure. The research suggests the complete opposite is true.
So it's not that things are bad.
No, not at all. This restlessness isn't because things are bad. The material explicitly states it's the sense that your current life is simply too small for the person you're becoming.
I see it as like a low hum of tension. It's like the internal engine is revving faster than the chassis can handle. But where does that tension actually come from? Is it like a biological drive or is it purely cognitive?
That's a great question. It's really a synthesis of both. Cognitively, you probably hit a ceiling on learning or challenge in your current role, and your brain is signaling that its resources are being underutilized.
Okay.
And then biologically, this persistent low-level dissatisfaction, it creates a kind of constructive stress response, a gentle nudging away from comfort.
So it's not depression.
That's the key insight here. It is not depression, it is potential. A powerful sign of an internal leveling up that's just, outpacing your external reality.
Okay, so if this feeling is so common, what's the typical non-wealth building response to it? I mean, why don't more people translate this restlessness into actual wealth?
Because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It really is. It challenges your status quo. So when most people feel this tension, this powerful constructive restlessness, what do?
They numb it.
They numb it immediately. They turn to constant low-effort entertainment. They dive into comfort-driven routines. They spend all their time suppressing that feeling of being constrained, essentially self-medicating their own ambition away.
Fair. So the truly pivotal moment then, the first spark of reinvention, is simply choosing to listen to that tension instead of just trying to drown it out with noise.
Precisely. The moment you choose to interpret that tension, not as some flaw in your current life, but as a compass pointing you toward necessary expansion. That is the primary foundational decision for wealth.
The restlessness becomes a guide.
It's your guide, yeah. It forces you to expand your thinking, your activities. It dictates that you choose development over immediate comfort. And that immediate choice, how you manage that tension, is what separates the builders from the stationary.
If that restlessness is the spark, then sign number 2 feels like the mechanism for directing that energy. It's stopping the blame game. This is where that passive discomfort, it turns into active, constructive control.
This is described as a seismic shift in personal accountability. The individual stops complaining. They stop pointing fingers at external factors. The boss, the economy, society, bad luck.
It's the ultimate internal declaration, isn't it? It's saying, okay, this is my life, my responsibility.
Right.
Okay, so help me understand the mechanism a bit more. Why is stopping the blame game a financial indicator and not just, say, a maturity indicator?
Because it's dangerous. In the most positive sense of the word. It's the moment you reclaim 100% of your operational energy.
100%?
Think about it. Blame is an enormous energy drain. When you externalize blame, you are allocating massive cognitive resources to defending your own lack of progress.
And analyzing variables you can't even control.
Exactly. You're spending all this mental capital on, high-cost, low-yield activities that makes no sense.
Right.
The moment you embrace full ownership, you've internalized what psychologists call the locus of control. And all that energy that was previously wasted on external criticism, it gets redirected inward.
Into agency and problem solving.
And creativity.
Yeah.
If a project fails, the wealthy mindset doesn't ask whose fault was this. It asks, what can I change to prevent this outcome next time? That proactive, self-centered interrogation is what generates actionable solutions and ultimately profit.
It sounds like the wealth-building process really requires the courage to say, the limits of my life are now solely defined by my own effort and my own creativity. I mean, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
But it's also immensely empowering.
It's the necessary prerequisite. The research suggests most people never reach this point of complete ownership. And it's because, being the victim of circumstance is an easier story to tell.
It's a better narrative. It gets you sympathy.
It gets you sympathy. And to embrace full responsibility, that requires a mature understanding that sympathy is, it's a worthless currency in the pursuit of building something durable.
So if you, the listener, feel that shift, that quiet acceptance that you are now the active creator, not the passive observer, you've completed the prerequisite for true building.
Now let's intentionally jump ahead a little bit. I want to skip to sign number 10 for a moment because it just perfectly synthesizes and caps off this whole internal section. We're looking at the unexplained inner shift.
That structural jump makes perfect sense. Signs 1 and 2 are the inputs, the spark of restlessness and the redirection of that energy. Sign 10 is the output, that internal change that is so hard to articulate.
It is the hardest sign to quantify, but I think it's the strongest indicator of internal progress. It's that moment you just realize something in me has changed, even if you can't point to a specific event that caused it.
And the source details some of the ways it shows up, right?
It does. It says, your thinking feels sharper, your standards have subtly elevated, and you're perceiving opportunities where you previously only saw obstacles.
Let's delve into what sharper thinking practically means. Is this just, a boost in self-confidence, or is there a genuine cognitive change happening?
Oh, it's a genuine cognitive recalibration, and it's based on pattern recognition. When you stop externalizing blame and you start seeking opportunities through disciplined action, your brain literally begins to filter the world differently.
So sharper thinking means you're quicker to spot.
You're quicker to spot leverage points, you're faster to dismiss sunk costs, and you're better at anticipating the second and third order consequences of your decisions. It's like your internal predictive engine just got a major operating system upgrade.
And the material uses that incredible phrase, the future feels louder. Not loud like, distracting noise, but loud like direction.
That phrase is so powerful. It describes the subconscious mind filtering out all the low-priority static. If your vision is clear and your accountability is high, the future stops feeling like this vague promise.
And it starts feeling like a gravitational pull.
A gravitational pull. I love that. The distractions fade away because they just don't align with that loud, clear direction. This is the synthesis of those first two signs we talked about. The tension drove the action secured the responsibility, and now the subconscious is wholly aligned with that wealth trajectory.
So we should frame this internal shift as maybe the strongest sign of all. It's the internal validation that says, regardless of your current bank statement, keep going, you're closer than you think. It's the confirmation that the inner foundation is robust, and it's ready for the construction of external success.
It's the quiet knowledge replacing what was once just hopeful wishing. It means you've successfully cultivated the non-negotiable mental architecture that's required to sustain and, multiply wealth when it finally arrives.
All right, moving from the internal shifts of mindset to the practical application of discipline, we hit the ground running with sign number 3. Learning skills, not collecting distractions.
This sign is, I think, the litmus test. It separates those who merely wish for a better life from those who are actively building a higher market value for themselves.
And the core distinction is between being busy versus getting better.
Exactly. Being busy is just running in place with low-value tasks. Getting better is about increasing your ability to solve complex, profitable problems.
It's interesting that the research doesn't really focus on, say, certifications or formal degrees. It's all about specific, highly marketable skills. It's about utility, not just credentials on a resume.
Absolutely. The material provides a really clear list of skills the modern world pays enormous premiums for. Things like editing, design, content creation, investing, copywriting, e-commerce, sales.
And fluency with AI tools, that's a big one.
A huge one. These are the modern pipelines that translate your effort directly into monetary opportunities.
Let's deepen the analysis on one or two of those. I mean, why is something like professional copywriting or, say, mastery of AI tools considered such a foundational wealth sign in a 2026 timeframe?
Okay, let's take copywriting. We live in an attention economy, right?
Right.
Wealth is built by successfully capturing and monetizing attention. Copywriting is simply structured communication designed to prompt a specific, profitable action, a purchase, a sign-up, a click. If you can effectively sell, persuade, and articulate value in this sea of noise we live in, you hold a fundamental power in the marketplace.
And AI tools, that feels less like a traditional skill and maybe more like a technological lever?
It's the ultimate lever. Fluency in AI tools is not about becoming a programmer. It's about understanding prompt engineering and how to scale your existing output exponentially.
So if you can use AI to do the work of 3 people,
then you are 3 times more valuable. The wealthy mindset doesn't use AI for, entertainment or messing around. It uses it for operational leverage, for increasing speed, accuracy, and reach.
So if you, the listener, are actively investing your time into mastering one of these high-leveraged skills, even if you're just stumbling through the learning process right now, you are investing in an equity that never depreciates your own competence.
And this leads us directly into the source's clear progression, which is basically the definition of the wealth pipeline. The foundation is this: skills turn into opportunities, opportunities turn into income, and income turns into freedom.
Simple as that.
If that foundation of skill acquisition is ignored, that whole pipeline just collapses, and the pursuit of wealth becomes this perpetual, frustrating chase.
That clarity brings us perfectly to sign number 4, which is a subtle yet profound transformation in how you view resources. It's time as the primary currency.
The shift in perspective here is so critical. The research is insistent on this point. Rich people do not value money first. They value time.
Because money can be lost and replenished.
It can be, but time is finite and completely non-renewable.
And the behavioral signal for this one is fascinating. It's that internal audit system that just activates, the feeling of a tiny sting inside when you realize you've wasted a whole hour scrolling or engaging in pointless gossip.
And that sting is awareness, according to the analysis. That sting is the wealth mindset, recognizing an opportunity cost. When you value time above all else, an hour spent idly isn't just a lost hour.
It's an hour permanently lost from building skills or networking or deep work.
Or just connecting with your family. You begin to budget your time with the same severity you would budget scarce investment capital.
But let's be realistic, we all waste time sometimes. I mean, where do you draw the line between necessary downtime and destructive time wasting that triggers this sting?
The distinction lies in intention. That's the key. Rest and recovery are intentional, high-value activities that are necessary for peak performance.
Okay.
Time waste is unintentional. It's low-value consumption for fleeting dopamine hits. When you're operating with a wealth mindset, your minutes have to either generate value like work or learning, or restore value like rest or connection. The sting happens when you're doing either.
So once you start treating minutes like currency, you're already thinking like someone who generates wealth. You're optimizing for impact and leverage, not just filling space in your day.
And this defense of time, it naturally leads to sign number 6, which is the practical application of that efficiency, the power of working alone, self-drive.
This is all about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. It's the ability to work consistently and quietly without needing any external validation.
Right. No manager watching over your shoulder, no immediate promotion being dangled in front of you, and certainly no applause on social media.
Which is so hard for people now.
So hard. This self-driven discipline is defined in the analysis as a trait that makes people dangerous in a good way. And it is so rare because we are biologically and, well, culturally hardwired for immediate social feedback. We crave that dopamine hit from validation.
So to consciously override that hardwiring and just stick to a long-term plan, fueled purely by your own internal momentum, that requires some profound character development.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the corporate world. For most individuals, their output is capped by external pressure, the quarterly review, the deadline, the manager's oversight.
Right.
But when you possess self-drive, your potential is capped only by your own vision and your own endurance. The person who chooses to sit down and work on their side project for an hour, quietly, every single evening, when their friends are out watching TV.
They're building something.
They're building something infinitely more durable than the person who only works hard when a promotion is imminent.
So this is basically the adult version of the marshmallow test. The ability to delay gratification translates directly into sustained, compounded output over time.
It is. The self-driven individual operates on a completely different reward timeline. They understand that the true reward is the compounded result 6 months or 6 years down the road, not the momentary satisfaction of a supervisor's praise or a social media like.
So if you can choose the difficult work when nobody is looking,
then you have mastered the foundational element of entrepreneurial success. It's that simple.
Okay, moving into the final set of signs, we're going to examine how the external environment reacts to and shapes this burgeoning wealthy mentality. We'll start with sign number 5, attraction to bigger thinking.
This is the inevitable external manifestation of all the internal changes we've just discussed. If you're expanding your competence with sign 3 and you're prioritizing your time with sign 4, then your container, your social environment, it has to expand too, or it risks becoming a constraint.
And the material notes that small talk and the old social circle just don't hit the same anymore.
That's a very diplomatic way of putting it.
It is. It's a nice way of saying that the things that used to satisfy you, the local gossip, the circular complaining, the comfortable rehashing of old stories, now they just feel draining and small and maybe even a little toxic.
And the analysis suggests this craving for intellectual stimulation takes its place. The new desire is for conversations that actually stretch your thinking, for ideas that feel like open windows, letting fresh air in.
You're actively seeking people who make you feel like more is possible. You're shifting from a collective scarcity mindset to a more expansive, abundant one. So what's the mechanism behind this? Is this just about networking, or is there a deeper psychological need being met here?
Oh, it's much deeper than just networking. I'd call it psychological self-defense. There's research that shows that chronic gossip and negativity actually elevate your cortisol levels. They are genuinely stressful and cognitively draining.
Wow.
Conversely, conversations that are centered on problem solving, on vision, on growth, that kind of high-level intellectual exchange is often associated with dopamine and inspiration.
So your mind is instinctively seeking out high-value input and rejecting low-value input because it's trying to align with that louder direction we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Your environment is predictive of your future. If you are actively outgrowing your environments, seeking high-caliber input, and gravitating toward those who are operating on a higher plane of thinking, well, that proves your mind has already done the heavy lifting of preparation.
You're aligning your future reality by choosing the highest possible present company.
You are. The subconscious recognizes that a mindset cannot expand inside of a restrictive intellectual environment. It has to break out.
Now let's talk about unnecessary mindset shift. Sign number 7. Befriending discomfort. This is really where the rubber meets the road. The willingness to endure short-term pain for long-term gain.
The realization here is the source's core warning, and it's a powerful one. Comfort is a trap wrapped in a pillow.
A trap wrapped in a pillow. I like that.
It promises safety and ease in the short term, but it guarantees stagnation and decay in the long term. Wealth, and really any kind of personal mastery, it cannot be built from a place of chronic ease. It requires friction.
And the source lists the specific actions that define this shift. Starting to do things you previously avoided.
Right.
Things like difficult tasks, awkward conversations, facing steep learning curves, and embracing focused, long hours when it's necessary.
These actions are the gatekeepers to progress. They're the friction points that 90% of people retreat from. If you are consistently choosing the difficult thing, choosing the tough conversation with a client, choosing deep work over a shallow meeting, you are actively de-risking your future success by building resilience and competence.
But let's address the critique here. Where do we draw the line between productive discomfort, the growth zone, and just destructive self-sabotage or burnout? I mean, if we're targeting a sustained wealth journey, we can't just promote suffering for the sake of it.
That's a crucial distinction to make. Productive discomfort is intentional, it's temporary, and it's aligned with a specific goal. Think of learning a hard skill or having a necessary conflict.
Okay.
Burnout or self-sabotage, that's often unintentional. It's chronic and misaligned. It's driven by anxiety or a lack of boundaries, not by a desire for growth. The wealth mindset embraces discomfort as a tool.
Like weightlifting.
Exactly like weightlifting.
Yeah.
Short bursts of strain to build lasting strength, followed by necessary recovery. It's strategic pain, not pervasive suffering.
I love the metaphor the analysis uses for this. It says every version of your successful future sits behind a door marked discomfort. And the wealthy mindset is the one that stops running from that door and actually starts knocking.
That decision to knock, to engage with the pain of growth, is the definitive proof that you are prioritizing long-term value over short-term ease. You're conditioning yourself to handle the necessary challenges of expansion, which will inevitably be far more complex than the challenges of just, maintenance.
That intentionality and logic, it extends directly to sign number 8, the logical relationship with money.
This signifies the shift from viewing money emotionally, spending to cope with stress, spending for status, or avoiding your financial statements out of fear.
And moving toward a highly logical, intentional interaction with your resources.
Right. Money ceases to be this magic solution or a source of anxiety, and it becomes what it really is, an operational tool.
So how does that shift from emotion to logic actually manifest in daily spending habits?
Well, the emotional relationship sees money as a means to immediate dopamine and security. The logical relationship defines money not as a toy, but as a tool, a seed. When that emotional driver is removed, your spending decisions undergo intense scrutiny.
So the logical person asks?
The logical person asks, does this purchase generate a positive return on experience, an ROE, or a positive return on investment, an ROI?
So buying an expensive car for status, which depreciates and costs a ton in insurance, that's an emotional buy with a negative ROI.
Clearly.
But investing in a high-quality laptop that increases your output and speed, that's a logical seed-like purchase.
Exactly. The logical mindset treats every single dollar like a tiny employee. It has to work, and it must earn its keep. The moment you, the listener, start using money as leverage, as a seed for investment or skill acquisition or business growth, you have adopted the wealth mentality, regardless of the current dollar volume in your account.
And this leads to that incredible reversal that's described in the research. Most people wait until they are rich to act rich. They only start managing money seriously when they have this massive income, which often leads to destructive lifestyle inflation.
And the listener exhibiting this sign is doing the complete opposite. They are thinking rich before the money arrives. They are implementing the management, the intentionality, and the disciplined planning of a wealthy individual while they are still at a lower income level.
And that internal preparation is so crucial.
It is. The wealth arrives not because of luck, but because the mind has already prepared the secure, disciplined container to hold it and, more importantly, to grow it.
Finally, we arrive at sign number 9, which deals with the execution phase that really synthesizes all this discipline. It's the courage to start small.
This sign addresses what is probably the most common killer of ambition: paralyzing perfectionism and that feeling of inadequacy.
Right, I can't start until it's perfect.
Yes, the wealthy mindset accepts being a beginner. It's okay with making imperfect attempts, and it truly knows that every single master started from zero, often with embarrassing first drafts.
It's the acceptance that momentum beats perfection every single time. We're so conditioned by media to see only the final, polished product, which fuels this Big Bang syndrome, this belief that your first attempt has to be perfect or grandly scaled.
And that Big Bang mindset is a guarantee of failure because it's completely unsustainable. The material provides the crucial formula here. The power lies in starting tiny and remaining consistent. This is the difference between linear effort and exponential results.
Talk a bit more about that compounding effect beyond just financial investment. I mean, how does starting small and remaining consistent apply to behavioral change?
Behaviorally, starting small builds habit strength. When you attempt a massive change, say writing a 300-page book in a month, your brain registers that as a threat, and resistance is immediate and overwhelming.
It's too big.
Way too big. But if you commit to writing just 500 words daily, it seems trivial, but it bypasses that resistance filter in your brain. That tiny action, repeated consistently, compounds not just the output, the book eventually gets written, but it compounds the internal discipline, the self-trust, and the skill acquisition along the way.
So starting small isn't a sign of a lack of ambition at all. It's a sign of understanding the physics of compounding.
Absolutely. The combination of a small beginning coupled with ruthless consistency, that makes one unstoppable. If you are already prioritizing consistency over these grand, unsustainable efforts, you're leveraging the most powerful force in the universe to turn those tiny, quiet actions into massive future results.
You're building not just wealth, but an unbreakable system. We have covered so much ground today. We've mapped the internal pressures of restlessness and self-accountability, the mastery of time and specific skill acquisition, and that crucial shift in environmental alignment and logical resource management.
And if you, the listener, recognized even 3 or 4 of these signs, that feeling of being too big for your current circumstances, the self-driven work you do when no one's watching, the logical handling of money, then you are not merely wishing for financial success.
No.
You are actively, quietly, and effectively building the inner foundation for it right now, today.
This brings us back to the powerful conclusion provided by the research regarding the actual arrival of financial success. And it addresses the common misconception that wealth just appears in a sudden, dramatic windfall.
Yeah, that's a myth. Money does not arrive suddenly. The wealth arrives gradually, then all at once. The foundational shifts we discussed, a quiet discipline, the internal recalibration, the consistent skill practice, that is the gradual phase.
And it can last for months, maybe years.
For months, perhaps years, you feel the change inside, but you see no difference externally. You're working alone, you're mastering your time, all without applause.
And that's the point where most people quit, right? In that long, quiet, gradual phase where the effort seems completely divorced from the reward.
But those consistent choices, they accumulate power. And then one day, the compound effort hits critical mass, the acquired skills align perfectly with some unexpected opportunity, and suddenly everything changes in a visible external way.
But that seismic shift was simply the final public manifestation of the thousands of quiet, consistent choices you made when absolutely no one else was watching. So we encourage you to stay steady, keep going. Your trajectory is already set by these internal choices. Recognize that the way you handle your time today, the quality of conversations you seek out, and your consistent acceptance of productive discomfort. They aren't just temporary efforts. They are leading toward an inevitable future that you are currently manufacturing.
The richest version of you is already in progress. It's not some future goal, but a current unfolding reality based on the systems you maintain. The analysis of these signs proves that your trajectory is already set by the quiet choices you make when no one else is looking.
So here's the provocative thought for you to chew on. If the foundation is built in the quiet, when the spotlight is off and the motivation is purely internal, what is one tiny, consistent action you can commit to taking this week to feed that internal foundation? Something that feels almost too small to matter, but which you know will compound for your future.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.